He leads us all the way, playing proper football, the Sheff United way. Ale, 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 ale.
Good evening, Blades fans. How's it all going out there? Welcome to the match reaction to Sheffield United drawing away at Norwich City at Carrow Road 1-1. We started off so well like we did against QPR, but yet again, that second half wasn't quite good enough, whether it's the fitness levels, whether as they are tiring, that the creativity is just not there, whether it's the bench not offering enough or us needing reinforcements, as some people are already saying in the comments. We'll get through all of this in the next sort of 20 to 40 minutes. I know that's a crazy amount of leeway, but you know what my match reactions are like. They're not quick, fast like Hal's and sometimes Ollie's. But yeah, we'll talk about anything and everything. So make sure you get your comments in the comments. And obviously, if you're listening to this on podcast right now, leave us a rating. That'd be fantastic. As you can see down below, they're all our sponsors. Parrotpeel.com, fantastic band. Green King Sport have jumped on board for another year. And Panenka, our pre-match bar, which we are absolutely buzzing to get because Panenka is such a fantastic bar on Bramall Lane. So yeah, that's a big coup for the Sheffield United way. Anyway, that's probably, well, I probably will smile a little bit because certainly in the first half we were very, very good. But yeah, I think towards the end of the video we might be slightly more negative. Anyway, let's start from the lineup as we always do, because the lineup was slightly different to, I think, what anyone would have expected. Maybe one of those we might have predicted in Anel, because Anel's been subject to rumours of him leaving and going to, well, there's been Ipswich rumoured, there's been Wolves rumoured, there's been West Ham rumoured, probably more, probably Fulham as well in there. They like to take our cast off, shall we say, especially recently. Yeah, I don't think any of us expected the club captain, Jack Robinson, not to be playing today. So we saw Suter come in for Anel, and we saw Jack Robinson leave the team because of a groin injury, apparently. And we saw Austin Trusty come in and try and mark his fellow American. Other than that, that was it. Oh, Michael Cooper as well, of course. Michael Cooper came in between the sticks. I think had a really, really good game today. Not a lot he could have done with the goal, but again, we'll get to that eventually. We're now talking about the rest of the team. And obviously, I was always a little bit worried about that defensive partnership, because certainly Burrows has looked a little bit at sea at times at left back. Let's call it left back, because when you're defending, I like to say left back when you're defending, left sort of wing back / left midfield when you're attacking, because we all know Harrison Burrows loves to get forward and loves to whip those balls in. But yeah, recently his defending's not quite been as good as we'd like it to be. Gilchrist, I think he started his time at Sheffield United on a slightly, I don't know, let's say average, because sometimes he looks really good. Sometimes he looks a little bit weak at the back, shall we say, especially as a centre back. But maybe it's just because he's not used to playing that right back spot too much. Because I know for the Chelsea youngsters, he played at centre back. He was their their under 21s captain, and I know he played at right back for the full team. And obviously, he ain't got too many games under his belt for the Chelsea full team, so he's learning that role. Same as Harrison Burrows learning the players around him and what they're going to do, because it's a very, very new team. Because if we look through the team, that's Michael Cooper, Burrows, Suter, Gilchrist. So, you know, 4 of the back 5, including the goalkeeper, are new today. Then we've got just Callum O'Hare and Kiefer Moore up top. So there's a lot of new faces in there, and we're still all getting to know each other, aren't we? So I don't want to be too negative in this video, because I'm really enjoying us attacking, and I think eventually it'll just click. But like I say, we'll get there eventually. Anyway, let's start from the minute one. Like, it wasn't great conditions today for the lads, but it's same for both sides, isn't it? So it was really, really poor conditions, rain firing down. In Sheffield, it was bright sunshine. So yeah, in Norwich, not so much, and it was quite difficult at times. It really was. But like I say, same for both teams. You just got to take the rough with the smooth, especially in the Championship. I know this is a Premier League pitch. This is a Premier League ground that we're playing on today. Really, really good facilities. It's not like we're playing a League Two side, so it's just a little bit wet underfoot, isn't it? Just get on with it. Like, we played in a lot worse when we were playing football when we were younger. So yeah. Anyway, so I thought in the midfield we controlled it for the most part. I think Sousa was a little bit slow at times releasing the ball. As he kind of always is. But you always feel quite confident in Sousa that he's not going to give the ball away, or I do anyway. Our blaster was fantastic, especially in the first half. I'll be honest, I don't think there's a lot for me to say about it in the second half because there weren't too many times where we looked like we were going to score a goal. And I like to try and keep it all positive and all talking about the Blades. If obviously you're a Norwich fan and you've stumbled across this video, we will get into some of the details with the Norwich attacks as well. But our blaster, fantastic. Harmer, fantastic for most of the game. O'Hare, don't think it was his best game today. He looked, every time he got the ball, he kind of lost it. And I'm surprised at that because he's got those reinforcements in Gus Harmer and Ollie Arblaster both kind of buzzing around him, trying to give him space. And he didn't have a lot of space, Callum O'Hare, today. Anyway, let's talk. No, I was going to move on. Let me talk about Andre Brooks for a second, because somebody in the comments of our match preview said, you didn't even mention Andre Brooks. He's been the best player this season. And in that first half, I'm going to give man of the first half, shall we say, to Andre Brooks, because Andre Brooks was so dangerous. He was fantastic. They were doubling up on him every time. And quite often, he'd still get past them. So I know we've brought Raksaki in, and I know they're kind of both vying for the same spot, both left-footers, both wanting to come in on that left foot. I don't know. I feel like Andre Brooks does not deserve to lose his place, and especially that he keeps getting brought off week in, week out. And yeah, maybe he's tiring towards the end of a game, like kind of youngsters tend to do when they're not used to the physicality of the men's game. You wilt towards the end of the game. So maybe that's the reason why Wilder keeps bringing him off. But I'll be honest, I think he deserved to stay on for the most part. Anyway, let's talk about the game. Obviously, they went 1-0 up, and it was completely against the run of play. It really was. Like, we controlled that first half, but they were just really good on the break, especially Sargent just kind of getting away at will. And I think the fact that the two players that started for us at centre-back, neither of them possess too much pace, in all honesty. And I think that's what they noticed. And it's like, let's play on the break and let's try and, beat that offside trap, and let's try and kind of get in behind them because they've not got the pace to catch up with us. And we certainly haven't, to be honest. But in the 4th minute, Brooks breaks down the right wing, as he did all game. It cuts in onto his left foot. It's a great ball onto Kiefer Moore's head, but he just can't generate enough power to get it past Angus Gunn. I think it was kind of behind his sort of where he was, and he's having to kind of backpedal and then try and get that power on the header, but it kind of went straight at Angus Gunn, and it was quite an easy save to make. In the 5th minute, from that resulting corner, we should have been 1-0 up here. Burrows puts in a beautiful corner right in the middle of the 6-yard box. Angus Gunn thinks he's coming for this, and he's catching it. Angus Gunn doesn't get anywhere near it. Suter kind of gets in front of him and gets higher than him and just heads it over the bar. I think it's just a little bit too high for the giant that is Mr. Suter. unfortunately, like I say, it went on the top of the netting, and it was not to be. But really, really good start from the Blades. 5 minutes in. Then in the sixth minute, Norwich get down the right hand side. It's a lovely ball across the box, a little flick from their player, and Sargent can't put the ball away at the back post. It's just a little bit too far for him, and that's where we were trying. We were sort of thinking they are going to catch us on the break here. They've got good enough players to get the ball forward and then just be direct and attack with pace, and they certainly did that for. Well, especially the first half. The second half, they came into it a lot more, had a lot more of the ball, so they didn't really need to do as much of that playing on the break and being so direct when they get the ball forward. And, you know, they've got a few more players forward than we'd like them to. In the 17th minute, Burrows plays a beautiful deep cross into the box. It's headed back by Kiefer Moore, but Brooks just can't get anything on it. Genghis Gunn comes out, takes it quite comfortably. And that's the last attack that we have before we go 1-0 down. In the 22nd minute, it's a great ball and then a lovely flick. I think the ball is from Nunes, and then I think the flick is from Forson to put through Sargent. And the problem that I see from this goal is that neither defenders are actually taking charge of the only striker, that one striker that's up front. Neither of them are taking charge of him. It's a great bit of play from Norwich. But Sousa steps out for some reason. We weren't really struggling at this point, and he steps out and kind of takes his eye off the situation. And I don't think Trust is expecting him to do that. Obviously, if they're the two players that we're going to go forward with, who knows what Robinson's injury is like. But if they're the two players that we're going to go forward with, they need to learn each other's games. And obviously, it's going to come with time. This is the maybe second game they've played together, because I think they played together against Wrexham. But like I say, he steps out. Trusty doesn't realise he's stepping out, and he doesn't pick the man up. He's gone through Sargent. I've not seen it from behind the goal, so I'm not sure if Cooper can do a little bit more. But Cooper had a great game today. Did everything that he needed to do. You can't really expect a goalkeeper to save a one-on-one, in all honesty. He slides it past the goalkeeper. I think it's kind of like at his front post, if you like. I know he's practically bearing down on goal with all the goal to aim at. So I think he puts it just to the right of the goalkeeper from the striker's point of view, and opposite from the keeper's point of view. Very good finish. And they did say that when Sargent scores at home, Norwich don't lose. And I actually saw a stat that I wanted to look up before I got into this video. I was told that Norwich had not lost at Carrow Road for months and months and months. I was going to say since November 23, but that sounds a long time. But I remember when I heard this stat, I thought, that can't be right. I think it was on the match preview. I think it was Connor Southwell on the match preview giving that bit of information. So if you know or remember hearing that on the match preview, let us know. So, yeah, just a little bit of lack of communication between the two centre-backs. But like I say, they'll get there. In the 26th minute, we came out all guns blazing at this point. And I know we were the better side early on. But, you know, we just needed to take the bull by the horns and just try and get back in this game. And in the 26th minute, Burrows puts a ball into the box. He did a lot of these crosses today where they were at the front post. And I've seen so many assists from Harrison Burrows where he's curling that ball into the box, right into the 6-yard box, onto a striker's head, or right across the sort of face of goal in between the goalkeeper and the defender, that corridor of uncertainty, and a striker just tapped the ball in. But a lot of crosses today were front post, kind of not kind of in that corridor, and one of them got put into the box. And Shane Duffy, I don't know whether he headed it onto his hand or whether it just came off his hand. I'm pretty sure he headed it off his hand, and it kind of just bounced and went up like that. And that's not the trajectory that a ball should be doing if it's not hit his hand or hit something else. The referee stood right in front of it. I've seen it back, and I remember thinking it was so fast, but I remember thinking that's definitely come off his arm. I'm not sure how it ended up off his arm, but that is a penalty. That was 100% a penalty. Like, if you do that in the Premier League, they're looking at VAR, and that is getting given as a penalty. There's no two ways about it. Later on in the game, Kiefer Moore got the ball blasted at his hand from like 2 yards, and it was given as a handball. So, like, a player heading it onto his arm, how is that not handball? Anyway, Norwich massively got away with one there, but in the 32nd minute, they didn't get away with one. Andre Brooks, again, down that right-hand side, 2 men on him. He just stopped and then went again. And he went down that right-hand side. And obviously, players are expecting him to come in onto that trusty left foot of his. But he's going down the right-hand side. He clips the ball into the box. I think he needs to get a little bit better with his right foot because it was straight at the front post. The Norwich defender kind of swipes at it, makes a half clearance to the edge of the box. And Oliver Arblaster, you beautiful, beautiful man, slams the ball with his weaker foot right into the bottom corner. It was the sweetest shot you will ever see. Just fired it into that bottom corner. And it was lovely to see. It really was. Great finish. Putting himself in the window for a transfer again, which is not exactly what we want to see. But it was nice to get back in the game. Fantastic finish from the boy wonder. And the Blades back in the game. In the 40th minute, Sargent, he makes Cooper make the best save of the game from Cooper's point of view, anyway, from a defensive point of view for the Blades. It's headed back across, I think it's Shane Duffy, from a cross, and then Sargent manages to get, higher than anybody else, head it straight at Cooper, but Cooper still had to make the save. He caught it as well, which I like to see. And you know what? All game, I wasn't worried about Cooper in the slightest. I know there was one little moment in the second half where he sort of sliced a clearance out of play, but it was poor conditions. Like, you're going to expect that. And not every goalkeeper is absolutely perfect at all times. Look at Pickford today. Saw on Twitter that Pickford had an absolute mare and Son had put the ball in the back of the net. He was fantastic for England in the Euros. And everybody makes mistakes. But yeah, I thought his passing was phenomenal in the first half, Michael Cooper's. He's just got so much confidence just to fire a ball across field and throwing the ball cross field as well. When there's a striker milling around that could cut it out, he's just straight away grab, bang, get out wide. Let's get us on the move. So that was nice to see from the man between the sticks. Like I said, I thought Arblaster and Harmer in the first half linked up really well. We just need to see more. We just need to see us create more chances. I don't remember us having too many shots over the piece, really, over the full game. So looking at the stats right now, we had 12 attempts, 4 on target. I'll be honest, I don't remember 2 of those being on target today. 4 off target, probably should have been more. Yeah, that's... I don't know how that works. Goal attempts 12, 4 on, 4 off. That must be blocks and things like that. But in the end, to say that the Blades absolutely dominated that first half, the possession was 51 Blades, 49 Norwich. And in the second half, Norwich 57, Blades 43. So I think that just shows that we wilted massively in that second half, and we need to stop doing that. We need to stop letting teams back into the game. We did it against QPR. In this one, we could have taken this, been 2, 3, 4-1 up after 45 minutes. And that's not saying we had the chances. I'm just saying that we had enough of the ball and should have created more. Not quite good enough, but still very exciting to watch the boys play football. I'd like to see Andre Brooks interchange with the midfield a little more. I feel like he's kind of stuck out on that right-hand side, where if you've got 2 out-and-out wingers, keep them out there and keep them running at defenders. But it's kind of a little unbalanced because Harmer comes in so much and then he's so far out wide. So I'd like to see either, as play an out-and-out winger on the left and him on the right and just have him go at it and then we've got three sort of central midfielders in there. Three, yeah, that makes sense. Two defensive midfielders, then O'Hare or Harmer in the middle. I like Harmer on that left-hand side that's kind of cutting inside, but I do feel like we don't get enough out of him from there. It's a lot of kind of cutting in on his right, and everybody knows what he does. Whereas on that right-hand side, you've got someone like Andre Brooks that can go both ways, and he's got that little bit more pace and directness. It's not Harmer's game. So I'd like to see Harmer a little bit more central. I don't know how that works out, but also we're just not getting the ball up front to Kiefer Moore enough. And when the ball's coming up to Kiefer Moore, he's not holding it up well enough for me. I feel like we can't put all his eggs in Kiefer Moore's basket. And I know that this formation lends itself to kind of the striker not really having too much involvement. Obviously, we want to see them hold the ball up, play it out wide, play it to the supporting cast, if you like, going forward. But Kiefer Moore's just not holding it up well enough or getting the service. So it's a little bit of both, really. I want to see more from our striker, but also we're not giving him too much when it comes to service, really. So I'm not really going to talk much about the second half because there wasn't really much that the Blades did in the second half. Apparently, we had 2 shots on target and 4 off. And I don't remember many of them, in all honesty. Norwich took the game to us a lot more, especially in the kind of second half of the second half, if you like. 57% possession just shows that they had all of the ball and they were attacking at will. And to be fair, I was never too worried that Norwich were going to go and win this game. But still, they could have done. They could have easily done that because they had enough of the ball and they had enough of the ball in our sort of third for them to kind of take this game to us and win it. But in the end, I think a 1-1 draw was about right. I would have liked to have seen. Well, I thought the Blades were going to go and score more and more goals. When Arblaster fired that in the bottom corner and it was all us, I'm thinking this is our game for the losing, really, or for the taking, shall we say. Thought Norwich were pretty average in the first half. And then maybe they made us look pretty average in the second. I think what I'll probably talk about for the second half is probably the players that came on, because I like Anis Ben Slimani. But I think when we're looking to win this game, because it was there for the taking, as I've said a few times, I don't think he's direct enough to see him to see us kind of unlock the door, if you like. It feels like a player at this moment in time that you bring on when you maybe 2-1 up or something like that, and try and create something more, but try and see the game out at the same time, because he's a big, strong lad. He doesn't let the ball go too easily. He's a very, very technical player, and I think he's a very good footballer. I just don't know if he's got enough about him right now to take the game by the scruff of the neck and go for that winning goal. Where's the rest of the substitutes? So yeah, Raksaki came on with him, and they swapped Andre Brooks out again. I'm not sure whether that's because Andre Brooks was wilting, tiring a little bit. I didn't notice him tire. I would have liked to have seen both of them on either wings just going at the fullbacks. It feels like we just go a little bit too safe sometimes, and maybe that's what Wilder's, learned over these. Well, obviously we got battered so much last season that he's just wanting to make sure we start the season well, especially when we've started the season with -2 on the board, or off the board, if you like. But yeah, Callum O'Hare went off, Andre Brooks went off, and Slimani and Raksaki came on. Now, Raksaki down that right-hand side, he looks like he's going to beat his man every single time. Every time. It's just that final ball that's not quite good enough right now, but it'll get there. I'm sure it will. His right foot certainly doesn't look a patch on his left foot. And when he gets onto that right-hand side, a couple of times he just, took a bit too much of a big touch and it went out of play, or the defender came across and shepherded the ball out for a goal kick. There was one chance where he came in on his left foot and then pushed it one more, and he was kind of falling away. and he still managed to get a really, really good strike with his left foot that went over the bar. So yeah, really, really good effort. That was obviously one of them that was off target. But yeah, really good strike from Raksake, and obviously there's loads more to come. And I'm not worried. I'm really, really not worried about our start to the season. I think we've had an okay start. To say that we have so many new players and so many new players that are starting games, I feel like we've played, what's that, 4 games now, and we've not lost any. We've drawn 2, won 2, including the cup. And we've got to include the cup as well, because we want to see the team winning games of football and certainly not losing them after losing so many last year. So I don't think a draw away from Norwich is a terrible result. I'll be honest. I thought that we'd really take it to them. I think they've had a lot of unrest, Norwich, recently, with players handing transfer requests in. But it just shows that they've still got really, really good players. But so have we. And today, like I keep saying, we had so much of the ball. We really, really should have put ourselves in a good position, especially early on in the game, as in like the first half. Tyrese Campbell came on, had a bit of a run at one of their defenders, but not enough time to come on. He looked a little bit annoyed when he came on. I don't know whether that was him being in the zone and just being like so ready for the game, or whether he was annoyed, because I think coming on in the 88th minute, I think I'd be a little bit annoyed. It's like, what are you expecting me to do in 5 minutes? Because obviously that's 2, and then I think it was 3 minutes injury time. Gus Harmer came off. Hopefully that doesn't mean that, because I can't imagine Gus Harmer would have been brought off if he hadn't got a bit of a niggly injury. So I'm not sure whether Gus Harmer has got a bit of an injury, but obviously he came off. Hopefully he's okay. Tyrese Campbell came on and played up front with Kiefer Moore, but yeah, that one chance that he had didn't really do much with it. Put it onto his right foot and then had the ball taken off him. Sachdev also got himself a couple of minutes as well, which is nice to see. I think he touched the ball once, but it's nice for him to get on the pitch. And that's kind of where the game ended. I think there was a lot of bookings in this game, especially for Norwich. That's 2, 4, 5 bookings for Norwich players. I think they could have had a couple of players sent off. I think a couple of their bookings were a little bit soft, but also I think that, you know, they could have easily got sent off for tackles that were worse than the ones that they got booked for. Anyway, that's about it. I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much, everybody listening on the podcast. Let's move on to the comments right now. Thank you for everybody staying with me. Reinforcements are needed, Scott says. I think I completely agree. We need a left winger and a striker. For me, Moore is best used as a super sub. You could be right. He's not filled me with a massive amount of confidence as the focal point of our attack. The things that he should be good at, he's not doing as well as what I'd hoped for him to have done. I would have took a draw. Gilchrist, man of the match. Can't understand why he took Brooks off. Absolutely. Gilchrist did have a good game. This was probably his best game in a Blade shirt, and I think he loves that. He loves a tackle, doesn't he? He loves a tackle, and when it's throwing it down with rain, as a defender, that's what you love. You lap up those tackles. And yeah, I think he had a really good game. There was one where the ball was played through, and he was kind of like the centre-back. Obviously, he was a right back coming in to the central sort of area and just kind of held off the defender, got his way out, and got a free kick. But yeah, he had a really good game, in all honesty, today. What's a damp squib? All right, I didn't know what I'd said. 1-1 seems fair. Looks like we're still gelling, but there's some good sparks showing through that will turn into a great season. Agreed. There's a lot of positive things to take from this. I've been quite negative in this, probably shouldn't have been. But it's better to critique the things that you can critique. At the end of the day, like, you know, you could say, oh, this player played well, this player did this well, this player did that well, but you can't learn from playing well. You can only learn from the minuscule mistakes that people make at times. So those are the things that you need to critique, and those are the things you need to get better at to make sure that this is a fantastic season to remember for years to come. Evening, Nick Burrows is not a left back. Trusty played 2 positions today after last week, and this performance only one word for me: dross. Hecky comes in 3 days with players and beats Luton. Absolutely. Do you know what? I'll give him that. I completely forgot that Hecky was at Preston when I was looking at the scores, and fair play. Let's just quickly go through the Championship results today, because the players or the teams that you expect to be up towards the top by the end of the season: Coventry, drawn. Middlesbrough, drawn, and we're losing for the best part of that game. Luton, lost, as we've just discussed. Burnley, lost away at Sunderland. Watford's won again. I thought Watford had drawn. Watford's won again. That's crazy. They're having a very, very good season. Just in time for Daniel Jefferson to come in and make it worse. Take the point and run. Gav saying, fair play, mate. Looks quality in the middle, little shaky at times at the back. Fair result. Either team could have nicked it at the end. Suter looked dependable. He did. He really did. I'll take it away from home from 1-0 down, and the early days of rebuild. New players need to start keeping clean sheets. I've no doubt we will find goals at the other end onward. Absolutely, completely agree. Our Blaster lost the ball 5 or 6 times that first half. Wouldn't say it was amazing. Okay. I don't remember seeing him lose the ball that many times. I thought he was very good, but we all watch different things, don't we? At times, Suter over NL, fair enough. Brooks has been a revelation. Rack has talent. Might be a bit overawed by position that he's in. I disagree. I think Raksaki was very good when he came on at beating his man. It's just that final ball, that little thing that obviously is the biggest thing, but he's beating his men at will. Like, they're not getting anywhere near him. He's great at moving it and moving himself and just getting past them at will. Whereas Brooks doesn't quite have that electric pace, and Brooks clearly hasn't been brought up as a wide player. But he's certainly learning that trade, and he's fantastic. Gilchrist, man of the match, fair enough. We look sluggish all over the pitch under the circumstances, being away, the weather, a whole new defence. It's a point picked up. Yeah, agreed. Unlike last week, which felt like a defeat. Most importantly, we're above Wednesday. I didn't even realise that. It doesn't really matter. We will be easily 5 or 6 places above Wednesday this season, so I'm not too worried about Wednesday being in front of us. But I'll be honest, I can't see Wednesday going above us from now until the end of the season. I'll take it away from home, 1-0 down, and in the early days of rebuild and new players. Going forward, we need to start keeping clean sheets. Got the quality to find goals onward. Absolutely, guys. People are arguing. People are arguing in the comments. So I'm going to fire down a little bit. Hi, Nick. Very disappointed second half. I think O'Hare was so weak again. Loses the ball too much. He needs to defend from the front. Have we got anyone from the bench to change a game? I think you're possibly right. We've got Raksake. He certainly can change a game. I think at the moment, Tyrese Campbell is a little bit of a weak option to bring on as a striker. And clearly, Wilder didn't think that he could change the game. That's why he only brought him on with a couple of minutes to go. Kiefer Moore didn't really look at the races for me today. And it would have been nice to have had somebody on the bench to bring on. But unfortunately, we don't really have too many great attacking options to bring off the bench at the moment. Mr. Nell, Trusty still seems green. Hope we don't sell an L unless we have a strong replacement signing secured. I don't know what Trusty still seems green means. Don't know what that means. As I read it and then read it again, I expect it to come to my brain, but I don't remember. I don't know what it is. So if you think all this, why are you slagging the second half? I don't know. I don't know what you're saying, Danny, mate. Norwich are unbeaten at home in 20 matches now. It was going to be tough. There we go. That is the stat. 20 matches at home. That is fantastic. I would have taken O'Hare off for JRS and then moved Harmer into 10 and moved Brooks to the left. Thank you. That's exactly what I would have done as well. Bottom line is a good point away at Carrow Road. He's better than none. And Carrow Road is always a tough place to go, isn't it? Let's be honest. Carrow Road has been, like, we've done okay at Carrow Road in past seasons, but it's never an easy place to go. Like, fans are expecting, and they've still got really, really good players. So, yeah, it was always going to be tough. And I think I would have taken a point before the game started. Great result, to be honest. Don't understand the negativity. We've all got his opinions, haven't we, Danny? We've all got his opinions. Some will be negative. And at the end of the day, I said it earlier on, I think that it's about looking at the bad points to make the bad points, to improve on the bad points so that, you know, we get better and we improve. There's a dog barking outside. I don't know if you can hear that, but it's really winding me up. Wouldn't say great, but it's a positive result. God, there's so much arguments in the comments. Need to play 2 up top, up the blades. Brian, fair enough. I've heard that a few times on Twitter. I still think we're in the infancy of this new formation, aren't we? So we'll have to wait and see. Eventually, Wilder might succumb to 2 up top, but we'll have to wait and see. We might try 2 up top at some point, but I think this is what we're going for right now. 2 relatively poor second halves in a row needs investigation. Absolutely, Joe. That's what I was saying earlier on. I think we should have gotten a penalty. Agreed. I mentioned that earlier on. We've got to think still. It's a massive change with players. It's going to take time to click. I agree, Joe. I completely agree. Green means inexperience, still learning. Maybe Brits don't use it in that way. I think green for me is more thinking about being my brain's gone. That dog's doing my head in. I think, yeah, it's more about recycling and stuff like that for me. That's the only thing that I think of when I think green. I think Campbell and Brewster play against Barnsley. Hopefully One as well. Hopefully. I don't know if you can hear that dog. A win at the Lane against Watford with a couple more signings in by then. It would be nice to see us beat Watford. It really would, because they've had such a fantastic start to the season. So I think if we can beat Watford, it'll give us more confidence to go and beat more teams. Kiefer was poor, and Trusty and Suter just need time to gel together and keep up the tempo. Absolutely. At least we ain't Luton 2 defeats and a draw. Yeah, exactly. Like, everybody were thinking Luton were going to do so well this season, but yeah, not great. Can't be too upset with the result, though. Dylan, completely agree. Why are we moaning about a draw away? I don't think we're actually moaning. I don't think we're moaning. I've said it a few times. I feel like it's a decent result away from home. It's a tough place to go. I think that we were great in the first half. And I think the reason why fans are probably moaning, and the reason why I've moaned a little bit, is because we were good. We were really good, and we really kind of controlled the game in the first half. And those are the games that you kind of feel like it's 2 points dropped rather than 1 point gained. In my opinion, anyway, that's what I would say. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there before I go over the 40-minute mark. So thank you very much for listening to me for such a long time. Hopefully some of it resonated with you, but we've all got our own opinions, so there's no point attacking each other about some saying it's disappointing, some saying it's a really good result, some saying it's only early days, and it is only early days. There's no point in really having a go at each other. Everyone's got their own opinion. Pop your opinions in the comments after the video finishes or the live finishes, and yeah, let's see what happens in the next game. Onwards and upwards, playing another team in yellow. I don't know why that means anything. I just thought it and I just blurted it out. So thank you very much for watching, guys. Make sure you leave a like on the video before you leave, and I will see you very, very soon. Up the blades.
Meters all the way, playing proper football, the Sheff United way. Ole, ole, ole.